Hey, what's up guys? We're back again to break down the 5 best players in Clash Royale's favorite decks. With everything on the line, their entire season's work, they chose and relied on these decks to finish top 5 in the world. Finishing top 5 in the world takes a ton of time and skill, so they know what actually works best in the game. Let's break down their favorite decks and why they chose them. Of course, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to use creator code SirTag in the shop to support the channel. Adriel was the 5th best player in Clash Royale because Mohamed Light finished number 3 and 4 in the world using the exact same deck. Golden Knight Goblin Drill Rocket is one of the most infuriating decks to ever try to defend against. And Golden Knight and Goblin Drill are 2 of the cards that pro players love to hate. With the fast cycle of Spear Goblins, Bats, and Fire Spirit, you're gonna get back to your offense before anyone's ready. So let's go jump right into a game and assert dominance. Alright, so it's time to rush through with the Fire Spirit, hopefully getting out a Dark Prince or a Valkyrie or something along those lines, because I want to go in for my Goblin Drill, make sure you have no counters. Dude, if you're going to eat 300 damage from that every single time, I will take that. Spear Goblins and Fire Spirit are your best 2 cards to cycle at the start because they only cost 1 or 2 elixir. And if your opponent is going to be able to drop something that's more than that, you can easily finish it off with Bats and then get a positive elixir trade on the counter push. So I'm going to go for the Golden Knight ability because we were able to eviscerate the Sparky. This is such a good matchup as well. I can see why people like this deck. Very aggressive, and there's a ton of outplay potential. So pros are going to be playing Goblin Drill and fast cycle decks for that reason. They just keep their opponent's elixir low, going in for Goblin Drills when they're at 7 or 5 elixir. And then when the opponent goes in for a Dark Prince or they go for a Mini Pack or a Goblin Giant, they're not able to afford a whole host of things behind it. Like, you're going to go for a Goblin Giant here, but you can't afford a Rage with a Sparky and all that other stuff that you probably need to be able to break through me. So that's the way that this deck is played at the highest level. Makes sense. So I'm able to go for a Golden Knight, shut that down, probably log on top of the Dark Goblin so it doesn't do too much damage, especially if you want to go for a Miner there. Oh, that is the saddest Miner I've ever seen without any support in this land. He just got destroyed. He's like, yo, where's my Dark Goblin at? Man, you have nothing on the ground to stop that, and you're just taking a serious pound. That Golden Knight had some business to take care of. If I go for a Goblin Drill here aggressively, we've seen that our opponent has Miner, so maybe less likely to end up having a Dark Prince. So if they go in for a Goblin Giant, switch up your Goblin Drill placements, and then the Goblins spawn in the back, and the Goblin Giant's just walking away. He's like, yeah, it's not my problem anymore. Let's see if my opponent can deal with it other ways. So that's pretty funny. I think that the Dark Goblin in that position will never be able to snipe the cannon. Musketeers don't get to snipe the cannon there either, so if you guys didn't know, drop your cannons a little bit lower if your opponent's got either a Musketeer, a Dark Goblin, Archer Queen, because you do not want to mess around with that. They'll just mess you up and take your tower if they can snipe the building. I'm going to go for Bats pretty early on so we can bait out our opponent's ability, and then we can go Spear Goblins in the middle. Spear Goblins in the middle, pull the oh my gosh, and they finish off the Miner. Wow, the Mighty Miner isn't even the mightiest Miner. The other Miner is the one doing the damage. Mighty Miner just feels like a failure in some situations. If you play against a cycle deck and you're ready Mighty Miner, you just get pulled to the middle, and then when you click the ability, you just stay in the middle of the map and you do nothing. So shows why this deck is really, really strong right now. And Golden Knight, oh my gosh, why didn't you hit the tower? I said you were strong, and then you just proved that you want to be a failure after the nerf. You're like, no. I'm terrible. I don't want to do anything anymore. I've had my time in the limelight. And yeah, I guess Golden Knight just slightly worse after the HP nerf. And maybe he's just a little bit more disobedient, but still a very good card. If you wanted to sub out the Golden Knight in this deck, highly encourage you guys to use Dark Prince instead. Really easy win. Shows why this deck is strong. Let's bounce on to the next one. Osama became the 4th best player in Clash Royale using my favorite deck in the game. Royale recruits Royale Hogs feels like you can overwhelm anyone, and it's so cool to see this deck at the top. Here we go. So this guy has won every single 20 win. I was looking at his banner and he's flexing with those. What are we going to get here? So if you Hog Rider and I Goblin Cage at the right moment, we can fully shut down the Hog Rider with no damage. I don't know if I did it at the right point. I think I did. No damage zone. Oh, it got a hit. Oh, I should have been dropped 1 tile higher, I think, and then I would have been fine. It is what it is. Very, very close to denying all damage with the Hog Rider. But the Goblin Cage baited out a cannon, which now he doesn't have for the Royal Hogs. So if you think about it from this perspective, if I were Royal Hogs at this exact moment, he's going to Fireball, and then he's going to take damage. Oh, he's got Archer Queen. He doesn't have Fireball in the deck. Let's go. It's not 2.6 Hog Rider. I'm so happy right now. That's beautiful. If you play against someone that is relying on their cannon and you bait it out with the Golden Knight or you bait it out with the recruits, you enlist some of the best offensive potential with your Royal Hogs afterward. That's a sublime situation to see. So you guys already know I am just going to go for Zappies and I'm going to go for a Barbarian Barrel. I'm going to drop like units instead since they give us counter push, and I could have fireballed as well. I think that would have been the best interaction for us possible. But we're going to get a redemption arc with the Goblin Cage against the Hog Rider. You guys will see. It will be our destiny. Where that Hog Rider at? So if I shut this down for no damage because he doesn't have login cycle, it could be pretty good. And then we can go in for recruits afterward. So I'm just waiting for this guy to go for the Hog Rider. He has not done it yet. I'm going to go for Fly Machine in the back and then go for Royal Hogs in the right-hand side. Okay, so here we go. We're going to drop it, stop it, and make sure that we shut down that hog. It's a beautiful sight to see to stop the Hog Rider with absolutely no damage. You just have to drop it at the right point. As you guys saw, I messed it up originally, and then we got a redemption arc. No damage taken when you drop it one tile up higher, and that's the timing, that's the placement. If you guys make that happen and you drop it lower, then the Hog Rider is going to hit your tower. You can't have that happen. Deny all damage and spend the least amount of elixir possible so then you can afford more stuff with your Golden Knights, your recruits, and stuff like that. Also, if you want to use a different version of the deck and you don't have all your champions and you don't have Golden Knight leveled up, would 100% recommend you guys to run Electro Spirit instead of Golden Knight. It works out amazingly in this deck as well. But I have to drop the Goblin Cage a little bit lower just because I wasn't able to afford it immediately. And I think with the Zappy, we're able to stop it. Come on, Zappy, clutch up, baby. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to Fly Machine in the middle to go and snipe the cannon. I don't think he's able to get an Archer Queen down in time. And let's go. I don't know if he has an answer to the Royal Hogs. If people don't have Fireball in this meta, because Fireball is getting nerfed, less people are going to be playing it, this deck is going to get so much better. It's filthy to see the devastating damage potential that I can get with Piggies, and all I have to do is go in for 2 Fireballs, and I blow his house down. So I go for the Goblin Cage again. If he logs this, I do have to go in for Zappies. Just in case he logs it, that's the reason why I'm going to do it, just to deny all damage. Because, you know, in single elixir, they're not going to go in for a head over heels push of spamming either skeletons plus earthquake and then log. They're just going to go in for a regular Hog Rider. You're able to get a 4/4 trade and get counter push. But in this specific situation, this man was going for the Hail Mary to get any chance back into the game that he could. The man that ruined the leaderboard is Mohamed Light, the person that most people believe to be the best player in the history of the game. He finished number 3 and number 4 in the world just using this stack. I'm sure you guys can see a common theme here. Goblin Drill, it's a pretty good card. All right, going into this one against Diego, we're going to go fast. It's crazy to me that Mohamed Light used the exact same deck and finished number 3 and number 4 in the world. People say he's the best player in Clash Royale, so it does make sense that he's, you know, always at the top of the leaderboard, but number 3 and number 4 in the world? That's ridiculous, man. You came up clutch this season and completely popped off with this deck. Okay, so if we play against Log Bait, we can easily use our Log and completely counter the Goblin Barrel every single time. If you drop a Barb Barrel and you drop the Barb Barrel down the middle, you don't get to hit everything, but the Hog, it rolls different. Okay, so Weird Barbarians deck. I haven't seen a Log Bait deck of this magnitude or order in a long time. I think I want to go and click the ability because I didn't know if he was going to drop something on top, and usually Archer Queen in that vicinity is just going to get one-tapped, right? Oh, we can snipe with a cannon. Beautiful. Let's go, cannon. Pop off. Give me the value. And I need to go for skeletons. I don't like that. I dislike that. I hate the fact that you're dropping so much elixir. Is that... That's going to lock onto my tower. Wow, Giant Skeleton. One of the best cards in the game. Yeah, it's pretty broken, and pro players have complained about it for a while. If you guys are wondering why Mohamed Light used this, you can see right now from our opponent, it is a pretty good strategy for opponents to use too. All right, I'm going to go in for a Goblin Drill here and expect him to go for Barbarians and then Fireball on them when they go down. The Princess should die as well. Sometimes the Princess gets retargeted. Okay, I didn't want to pre-Fireball because he could have went for Giant Skeleton as well, but I was trying to save Elixir so then I would have Fireball and Cycle and have enough Elixir for it, so I didn't want to drop it preemptively. This guy did finesse me and got a lot of damage. We'll see if we can wiggle our way back into this one. Giant Skeleton is a decent play, but I think dropping Fire Spirit and Skeletons and then getting back to a Goblin Drill when you're less prepared for it would be better. Okay, so I could log on the Spear Goblins. Very obnoxious to see that card because I love Spear Goblins. Felt like most people wouldn't know that. Maybe this guy is just me in disguise, running all of my favorite cards in one deck. I don't love Barbarians, though. I think that that's one card that I just don't like playing too much. Okay, so the good thing with Giant Skeleton is that it's able to body block, and if they drop anything on top of the drill now, it's just going to die. And obviously the Archer Queen, when we go invisible, then the tower is going to move focus from the Archer Queen onto the Goblin Drill. So works out pretty well for us as well. He might Princess, so I'm going to preemptively cannon just in case. That's off to the side so I can get away with a simple Fire Spirit and spend less Elixir. And then not spend any Elixir on the Spear Goblins because it's going to go directly into the cannon. So now, no Giant Skeleton in cycle. There's only going to be Barbarians. I want to go in for a log on top of the princess, but I think I can get away with an archer queen. I'm going to go for a fireball on top of the barbarians. Just waiting to see where you're going to drop that. Giant skeleton's alive and it's tanking. Oh my gosh, is the giant skeleton going to walk on the tower? Such a broken card, forcing out an arrows there as well. 3 elixir from our opponent that just did not want to be dropped. I'm going to go for archer queen of the river so I can win battles a little bit more decisively. Great spear goblins from our opponent. Wow, I was impressed by that. So the spear goblins weren't meant to kill the archer queen. It was just meant to take the focus from the archer queen, so then he was going to retarget back onto the giant skeleton of hitting, instead of hitting what we wanted to. So very, very well played on our opponent's end. Fireball on top of the barbarians, perfectly timed, hitting everything there as well. I'm going to go and drop the ability last possible second. Make sure that we optimize our elixir trades, and then follow up with a barbarian barrel here. So I think he's going to giant skeleton, but I'm still going to fireball. It doesn't matter. I just want to get more damage. There's no way you drop barbarians into that. You're just going to lose the game. GG. Well played, and peace out. Too much value for us and not enough for our opponent. And that's the reason why the Mohamed Light ran this deck at number 3 and number 4 in the world. No matter what, if you get a bad start, if you play better than your opponent, you're always able to make a comeback. Because Goblin Drill didn't get a nerf, it's going to remain the best win condition for pro players. Just way too reliable for damage. Wero showed up with an interesting, never-before-seen bridge spam deck to crush the competition. He finished number 2 in the world with a deck that no one expected to play against. Alright, so jumping to the action with Wero's deck that he used to finish number 2 in the world. This thing is incredibly unique and probably the most fun deck that has ever finished top 5 in Clash Royale. It's just bridge spam with an elixir collector, and more bridge spam than people expect, because usually they think the elixir collector, it's going to be 3 musketeers, and you're like, no, I've just got cannon carts, mirrors, bandits, and royal ghosts, and more cards than your simple Valkyrie or Dark Prince could ever fathom defending. Think about it this way. Most people will either have a Valkyrie or a Dark Prince, and you can bait it out with one of the bridge spam cards, and then just overwhelm them with way more than they're ready for. So I do really like the concept of the deck. Is it something that I would feel comfortable playing? Definitely not. This is difficult to play. You only have 1 anti-air card with the Hunter. Also, if you get unlucky enough to play against someone that's got Earthquake, maybe your Elixir Collector isn't going to give you too much value. So we're going to try to find a way to win against an Electro Giant deck that has a great answer to us, and we have no building to stop it as well. So we'll see what we can do. Wero would probably win this, but you know, we're not ranked number 2 in the world. I'm going to go in for the Hunter, and I'm going to go in for the Golden Knight here. We should be able to stop it. And with a positive elixir trade on defense to offense, maybe we can make something happen with the Golden Knight. I want to kill skeletons so then the bandit can dash onto the tower. Wait, did he drop the Golden Knight in the wrong spot? I thought that we would be able to get a dash from the Golden Knight onto the tower there. It didn't work out. So he perfectly timed that. Unfortunate for us. So I can't go in for elixir collectors. If I do, every single time that happens, he's just going to go for an earthquake, and then I just lose the game, right? I don't want to give my opponent the positive elixir trades here. This deck is built on dropping elixir collectors, baiting out your opponent's fireball or big spell, and then them not being able to fireball on the hunter, and then you get a good trade there. So not really able to have that happen because the dude doesn't have fireball in his deck. He's got EQ to eviscerate every collector. So Kanikar is very, very good against Electro Giants. I can't necessarily go in for Ghost unless it's supported, because he'll activate King Tower against this Ghost every single time. So you guys are going to notice something here. I'm going to go in for the Ghost. He's going to think that he could use just a... Oh, wow, okay, never mind. I was going to think that he would think that he could use a Tornado, and he didn't. So then what was going to happen, I would go in for something in front of the Ghost and mess up his plans, and then probably get a lot of damage. Didn't work out as planned, but it is what it is. I'm going to go for Kanikar here so then the Golden Knight doesn't dash onto the Hunter, because the Hunter is extremely impactful in the longer stages of the game. Especially if he wants to Tornado it in, we'll be able to still kill everything here. So I'm going to just bridge spam everything I have, because this matchup is not good for me. And we'll see if we can find a way through. I'm going to Golden Knight because it needs to be able to dash onto both cannons, so then the Bandit can dash as well into the tower. Yes, let's go, Bandit. That's what I'm talking about. That is so much value. That's insane. I guess when you do get an elixir advantage, you can pop off with the deck. I'm going to go in for a Kanikar again in the back. With 15 seconds remaining, you guys already know the deal. I am not going to try to defend a flying machine that has no actual value at all for our opponent. It's not getting damage in the tower that's weaker. There's no point. I might be able to go in for a Golden Knight here, or I could go in for a Hunter after he already uses his dash, so I think that's going to be our best bet. Kanikart will die, but it's okay as long as he doesn't get damage. Why is he Earthquaking? Ooh! That Earthquake just tickled my units, bro! You're trying to EQ me out or something? What's up with that? Okay, so we can go for Ghost. Maybe that's able to push the Cannon card. I just need to push the Cannon card. Come on, Cannon card. Just walk into the tower. Let me beat an Electro Giant deck. I don't have anything else. Let's go. So would I recommend playing this deck? No. This game was way too stressful and difficult. But as you guys can see, I guess if you play well enough, you can even beat decks with Earthquake. I relied on the pure power of the overpowered cards like Cannon Cart and Bandit, some of the most obnoxious cards to deal with in Clash Royale. Having 2 cards that can dash like Golden Knight and Bandit, Yeah, that's not something that anyone wants to play against. After always being a top 10 player, Usopp finally clutched up and finished number 1 in the world. And he did it all using his signature drill spam. Going in for goblin drills and wall breakers everywhere is not something that's easy to defend. But when your opponents feel like they've defended the goblin drill or the skeleton army, it actually helps this deck. You collect more souls for the Skeleton King, creating a ton of problems for every opponent. This deck finished number 1 in the world for a reason, so let's go with Cert Dominance. All right, we got a game against Angel. I feel like anyone with that type of name will probably be the devil and be running some like clone deck or some like elixir golem deck or something super dirty. So we're gonna go in for a goblin drill and we're gonna see what this guy's got. With this deck, the number 1 finishing deck in the world, y'all already know it's destructive. It can take towers in seconds. And sometimes you want your skeleton army to die so you can collect more souls for the Skeleton King. We'll be showing you guys that in a second. It feels really cool to be able to spam Skeleton Kings and be like, kill my skeleton army, give me souls. Oh no, I didn't get the Skeleton King down in time for that zap. If I did, I would have a full Skeleton King ready to munch on the tower. He's hungry right now. He's kind of starving right now. He doesn't have a full bar. It is what it is. Even with bad reception, maybe the Skeleton King can give us some value. So I'm going to click the ability right now just because it's maybe going to spawn some skeletons on top of the tower. And if it kills the executioner, it's well worth it. So I'll take that trade. Lots of goblins are stacking up in the right-hand side. He tried to get away with only subtly cycling skeletons. That did not work out so well for him. Okay, so the executioner doesn't hit my tower, which is beautiful. I can fire spirit here. And if our opponent decides to spam into Inferno Tower, it's going to be a good transaction for me. Wait, he went for mirrored up skeletons. So he has very little cards at 1 elixir. So I can go for a Dark Goblin here, get a hit, and that's worth the -1 trade. I got a Dark Goblin here, which is at least 200 damage, right? So arrows again from our opponent. One thing that professional players do that makes other professional players rage is this. You go for a skeleton army on one side and you're like, yo, I want you to kill my skeleton army so then I can go in for a full Skeleton King soul experience. It didn't work out because he had P.E.K.K.A. I wasn't expecting that to be in the deck since we saw Elite Barbarians. I was like, at worst, he goes in for Elite Barbarians, but you know, that didn't really happen. I think you want to go and drop your skeleton army earlier than you drop your Skeleton King, so then that doesn't happen. So then they maybe preemptively zap it, and then you immediately drop your Skeleton King, and you time it perfectly, and then you just shut everything down. So if I could have done something better there, would have dropped the Skeleton King slightly after I did. Both of the wall breakers connected, as you guys can see, pulling units around the map like Elite Barbarians. It's never going to be a problem with this deck. If you don't have Skeleton King, you could run a Valkyrie or a Dark Prince instead. I just think the deck really functions a lot better with the Skeleton King because when your units die, you can make your opponent cry by spamming a lot more bait cards that just make it so much more obnoxious for everyone to play against. The Fireball here, I'm going to go for a Dark Goblin off to the side. If I can kill the Executioner, that would be optimal. Doesn't necessarily happen because he gets a P.E.K.K.A. down in time. But the Dark Goblin is putting in so much work in the meantime. Wait, I can Fire Spirit and then Fireball on everything and knock back the Executioner and the E-Barbs and not take too much damage. So Inferno Tower is one of the best defenses in Clash Royale for that reason. It's just a super sturdy and reliable card. He's going to P.E.K.K.A. again. I'm just going to Skeleton Army on the other side. Oh, he didn't P.E.K.K.A. He kind of needs the P.E.K.K.A. or E-Wiz or something. This is really good. He's going to lose the Executioner. He's probably going to lose the right-hand tower. This is why Skeleton King is just so obnoxious. You can't stop it reliably, and he goes in for arrows on like 2 skeletons because it's obnoxious. Oh, he's just like, get me out of this game, Jake. The Dark Goblin locks onto the tower. We're going to Fireball. The Goblins will clean house, and there's nothing he can do. Way too much damage, way too much stuff for this guy to stop, even though he had arrows, Electro Wizard, Executioner, and Zap. Too much spam for him. Bait cards overwhelmed Angel completely and sent him straight to heaven. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more daily videos, and have an amazing rest of your day.